Welcome back, folks, as the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show continues here on the Big Talker, 1250 WTMA and WTMA.com. So we're talking this morning about really just how our industry is changing, how the information that we use to formulate our opinion and bias and decisions has changed. It's not changing anymore. It's changed. It's readily available. You have access to almost as much information as we as real estate agents do, at least on the surface level. And so I want to talk through some of the issues that I see commonly being made, some problems that I see that just consistently arise. A lot of this stuff comes up when we're interviewing folks after they have had some sort of breakup with their previous real estate agent, whether it was they were trying to market the property for sale and it didn't sell, or they've been trying to find a property to purchase. Maybe they even put in a few offers, and here they are. They're still looking for a home to buy. And so I want to share some of these occurrences with you. I want you as a listener, somebody that will be preparing to enter the market as a buyer, seller, both investor, maybe even agent. I want you to better understand what some of these things are, and some ways that I think agents kind of set up their clients, not necessarily for failure, but less than optimal success. And a really good example of this is kind of what most agents do by default. And that is, let's just say that, I'm a typical real estate agent. I'd like to think by now that you guys think I'm a little more than typical. But anyways, let's say that you're having a conversation with an agent and they start asking you some questions. And, you're like, 3 to 4 bedrooms, at least 2 full bathrooms. We need at least 1,800 square feet. We'd prefer to have, a fenced backyard with a screened porch and the master on the first floor. And you're going through this whole list of things that you want in your new home. And they say, okay, great. Yeah, I appreciate you sharing all of that. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'm going to set you up with a search, which is straight from the MLS. And as soon as that property hits the market, you're going to receive an email notifying you that new listing has hit the market. And if you see anything you like and you want to go take a look at, just let me know. Well, let's say, first of all, that the buyer doesn't live in this area. All they're doing is just looking at homes. They're looking at the features of it: bedrooms, bathrooms, square footage, finishes, condition, neighborhood amenities, if the agent even took the time to market those types of things. But really what has happened here, and what happens way more often than it should, is they've basically passed the buck. They've basically put the responsibility of finding your next home on your shoulders. What they have not done a really good job of is listening. And that is a severe issue in our industry, communication. It's amazing how much training there is on generating leads and converting leads and your systems. And, all of these things that, don't get me wrong, are important, but there's not much training out there as it relates to effectively communicating and listening. It's in my opinion, a pretty important foundational element to what we do. But the issue is this. The agent is basically saying, all right, when you see something you like, you let me know and I'll go and I'll show it to you. Well, that's obvious. So they're making a few assumptions. Number one, they're assuming that you're checking your email consistently throughout the day, throughout the week, and that you're kind of salivating for that next email to come through with a property to hit the market. But most people aren't like that. Most people have jobs, other responsibilities, kids, leisure activities, so on and so forth. They're not, hounding, or they're not watching their email like a hawk. So by the time they get around to it, maybe it's already been on the market for a day or 2 or 3. And if it's a really nice property that's priced well, marketed well, in good condition, I think we all know at this point that those don't stick around for more than a few days. Sometimes maybe even a few hours. So your chance of getting in and being a buyer that can make an offer uncontested, without competition from other agents or other buyers that are doing the same thing, is extremely rare. So you're already behind the 8 ball. Really what that agent should be doing for you is they should be sending you properties, and they should also be reviewing the properties that are being sent to you. So that if they see something that is of interest, based on all the questions they've asked, not just how many bedrooms and bathrooms you need, but why. Tell me about, what you guys like to do for fun. How close do you want to be to work? What about, things outside of work? How close do you want to be to the beach? How often do you go? I mean, really gaining a sense for how you live. It's not just an expert in bedroom, bathroom, square footage, and price per square foot. We're housing experts. And a lot of people don't take the time to really even gather the data in order to provide that level of clarity. Remember, it's not that the information is unavailable. It's that you need an expert to make sense out of it all. You need somebody to say, all right, well, this home is in a really nice area. You had mentioned that you wanted, this, or that you wanted it to be close to that. So here's some things nearby that, you should consider. Drive around, see if you like it. But they're not doing that. They're basically using the set it and forget it approach, which can be also used on the seller side of the transaction. Meaning, they go in, they have a conversation with you, they show you the comps that they brought with them, and why the home should be listed at the price that they have kind of predetermined the home should be listed for. They give you the marketing spiel, they build some rapport with you. They talk about their commission rate. You sign the paperwork. Photos are ordered. Most agents these days, I am happy to see this, most agents these days are actually using professional photography because kind of everybody's doing it. It's not as much of a premium as it used to be. So it's really not all that inexpensive to get professional photography, a few $100, depending upon the size of the home. I mean, we've got an 8,000 square foot home that we did, everything for: video, drone, photos, twilight photos, amenities photo. I mean, those types of packages are costly. There are plenty of agents out there that are not going to spend, $1,500 right off the rip just to get it on the market. But it's, in my opinion, necessary, especially when you're selling luxury real estate. That's frankly kind of a drop in the bucket compared to the kind of money and attention that you need to be bringing toward a listing like that. But I digress. What most agents will do is, after those photos are ordered and then received by the agent, it gets uploaded into the MLS. Once that property is uploaded into the MLS, it then syndicates to every single real estate agent's website, every single real estate brokerage's website, Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com, Homes.com, Redfin, you name it. It gets blasted out all at once. Doesn't show up on every website all at once because they all have their own, delay, so to speak, in terms of populating that information on their sites, which is why, having access to a search created by an agent is going to shave off hopefully a few minutes or hours in terms of the delivery of data from the point in time it's entered into the MLS until the time you're made aware of it as a buyer. But the challenge that so many sellers have is, when they're talking to a real estate agent, they want the biggest question that they have, especially from a marketing standpoint, is, how are you going to find buyers for my house? Simple question, right? How are you going to find buyers for my house? The reality is, most agents can't really answer that question because they actually don't have marketing plans or mechanisms that allow them to proactively get in front of buyers that might be interested in your home. What they do is very reactive in nature. It just goes on those sites. It's not like, they have done some form of marketing that is driving traffic to Zillow to look at your home. The people are going there anyways. There's nothing they've done or created in the form of interest or traction to drive somebody to that website. They're going there already. Then they just hope that, or I guess you as the seller just hope that they're the kind of agent that actually answers the phone when it rings. And we all know that agents kind of suck at that too. So if the question is, how are you going to find buyers for my house if they can't give you specific data, methodology, results, social proof that this is what I do and this is how I do it, and this is the outside of the box I approach, aside from everything that happens automatically as soon as the property goes in the MLS, here's everything else we do. And if the only other thing they do is, we'll post it on Facebook, just understand, all that's doing is going to a bunch of people they don't know that have predetermined, social relationships with. Those aren't actual buyers for your house. It's just, it's like their own personal, Think of like every time you put a post on Facebook, it's like a post up on a billboard in this own little town that you've created full of people you basically don't know. So that's not all that effective. Maybe the other thing they do is they do an open house. Well, is that a targeted event? Is it a true marketing activity? Are they actually proactively identifying people to invite to this open house? Or are they catching the person that's driving around on a Sunday after brunch and they're like, you know what, honey? Let's pull into this neighborhood. I feel like buying a house. What do you think? I mean, catching the weekend warriors is super old school. But if you treat it like an actual marketing event, you actually have a way of demographically identifying people that would be interested in a property like that. You have a way of identifying online behaviors that those type of people would exhibit that lead you to believe they are preparing for a home purchase. Then you're onto something. Now it's just a matter of delivering that data in a clear, concise, effective way to generate a conversation between somebody that is interested and the person that represents the property. And then everything else is conversion, professionalism, and when those things are done correctly, it kind of takes care of itself. But if those mechanisms don't exist with the agent that you are using to market your home for sale, then I want you to ask yourself the question, am I really getting the best of the best? Or am I okay with just getting good enough? Because here's the secret. It doesn't cost you any more, especially not on my team. We actually charge less. So, 2.4% listing commission. We're about a 20% reduction from what's standard in the market. There is no standard commission. Everybody can charge what they want to charge. But if you think of commissions as being around 6%, which is what they've been for years and years and years, we're at 2.4%. So if that's of interest to you, if you want to learn more about how we, knowing all that we know, the fact that we've had over 1,000 transactions, about $1 billion in real estate sold in the Charleston area, how we approach this process to minimize issues and to maximize potential, then give me a call. 843-400-8009. That's 843-400-8009. Check us out online, listingsincharleston.com. That's listingsincharleston.com. You can always send me an email too if you prefer to do that. Brian, so that's Brian with an I, at brianbeattyteam.com. Brian at brianbeattyteam.com. Thanks a lot. We'll be right back with some more right here on the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show on the Big Talker, 1250 WTMA and WTMA.com.
Stay tuned for more of the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show on 1250 WTMA and WTMA.com.